Good morning and welcome to another episode of The Home Front. Today I'm joined here by Afriyie and George as normal.
Oh yeah, Mizu.
Oh yeah, Miza. Please, we need to stop doing these political things on this show. We don't do politics. Today we want to discuss what happens after the home buying process and specifically interior design. So that's why we have Afriyie here. Afriyie, do you want to talk to us a little bit about who you are and what you do, and basically that will give insight as to why you're here.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, no problem. It's a pleasure to be here, to be with you both. I've heard good things about the podcast show. So my name is Afriyie and I am an interior designer. My background is real estate development, and then later on I transitioned into interior design. I do most things, anything from conception, 3D renders, all the way through to day-to-day renovations. So I've been in Ghana since 2018, and it's been a nice journey. And I'm just here to speak to you today about how to make your home reflect your personality.
Question though, what is the difference between interior designer and interior decorator?
Okay, so an interior designer is someone that has the capability of looking at the space in a whole, understanding the plans, has the knowledge or has the team to be able to make adjustments and make changes, not major architectural changes, but maybe some minor structural changes, and then incorporate that into the final vision and look. An interior decorator or interior stylist is someone that will come into the home and maybe just look at furnishings or staging, and not get too involved in the renovation side of things. But I think now where we are today in the market of interior design, especially here in Accra, I think it's a little bit of blurred lines.
Right.
And I think there's a bit of some education that needs to be had around who does what.
Right.
Because I feel like there are some instances where somebody believes they're hiring an interior designer.
But then they're actually hiring an interior decorator.
Right.
Okay.
So.
And that brings me to my first question. At what point do you think someone should bring in an interior? So what point in the purchase or after purchase stage should someone bring in an interior designer?
I think that there's no real set timeline as to when someone would come into your home.
Okay.
However, if you're a person that has a lot of ideas and doesn't quite know how to express themselves, then it would be quite good to get an interior person in very early into your journey, because then the person can get to know you, understand the kind of colours that you like. Mainly I ask what people don't like to try and get their pain points.
Okay.
So that, because sometimes people aren't too great with expressing how they feel, what they want, but people are really good at expressing what they don't want.
Right.
So with that, and then if you're privileged to get into the journey very earlier, you can get to know the personality of the person and then make some suggestions, and then it's up to the client to decide whether they want to go through the whole process with an interior designer, or they'll just pick your brains and do a consultation session and go ahead themselves. So it really does depend. And then also it really depends on the purpose of
whether it's for investment
property,
or for personal use.
because if it's for investment, you know that you need that unit to be something that's very durable and but attractive, so that it will get you tenants, and something where okay, at least I have 5 years or 2 years before I have to redo it again. But a person's home is a lot different.
Right.
So that's where there may not be an immediate demand for an interior designer. It might start off as, my friend said I should speak to you, you're sharing ideas, and then maybe they may not be able to bring everything together. Then you might, yes, and then later on you might get called once they're in the home, or once they've had a go themselves, just to kind of stage and put everything together.
So, okay, somebody comes to you, right, and says, oh, you know, I want an interior designer or stylist or whatever. What is the process like? How does it flow?
Yeah. Okay. Well, process varies, but I can talk about my own process.
Okay.
Which I think, without a process, is all a bit chaotic. So it's always good to have one. The first is just definitely analysing the needs, looking at the space, and finding out what the requirements are. And then, really, as I was saying, getting to know the individual and what they like and what they don't like, and then documenting that down. And then, if there's a green light, you now speak to the person and say, okay, so how long do we have? And sometimes
to accomplish
the goal. And sometimes you're invited in way down the line, and they say, I've just got 4 days
to move in.
To decorate or to get things going, or I've got a month. It really depends. It varies.
Right.
So in that case, you make sure that you've got your goal, your date, and then work with your date and work with your communication touch points, and then go to your vendors, and then start the sourcing process like that. So it's a mix of project plans, visuals, and then lots of conversation touch points and visits.
So interior decoration or interior design sounds like it's just purely for the wealthy. Is that the case?
No.
So that was a long silence though.
Do you know why I paused? Because I was kind of like giggling, because I think historically it had always been the case.
Right.
If you have some kind of esteemed status, or you want to be perceived in a certain way, then an interior designer will come to your home and you'll brag, yeah, my interior designer.
But can an average
average person that's coming onto that can acquire the services of an interior designer? Because some of my best projects have been with everyday people.
Really? What's your definition of everyday people?
Everyday people, students, people that work, not C-suite, but people that are working within organizations that might be on the forefront, be the first people you meet. Okay. They still need to make their
space a home, or space livable.
And some of the best projects have been understanding about the person, their needs and their budget, and then having the adventure of making it look and feel the way they want it to feel within the budget that they have.
Speaking of budget, do you personally, do you have a budget that you say, okay, I can't work with?
The process is in a way as such where it can be broken down, that the budget is given to you entirely, or you offer your expertise and the person provides their own budget.
Okay.
So it's not that, oh, the budget's not doable, but it all boils down to what the objective is. Because
I like her face. She's very diplomatic.
Very like, how do you actually?
I like that.
How do you balance your clients' dreams with their financial realities? Because I'm sure there's people that they want luxury, they want gold, they want shiny black, but their budget is not giving that.
I do encounter that a lot.
How do we handle these situations?
I think, as you said, I like to be diplomatic, but there are times when you have to just call it how it is and say,
your money is not matching.
This is where we are, and this is where we're trying to get to.
Right.
And guess what? For this, we can do this
instead.
And then maybe we call this phase 1.
Right.
Then we can look at this part
later.
Or we come up with a different idea.
Right.
That way.
Have you ever just had to say, like, because I'm sure some
That's
people,
what I was asking. Like,
some people,
your money is not giving.
They have, this is the money, but this is what they want.
Yes.
The understanding of it's just not there.
I can talk about an experience.
Give us the experience, babes.
It was actually not a blank canvas, so it was almost like there was furniture and everything to work with.
Right.
And the brief was give me stately home, give me manor house vibes.
Wow.
But not the budget. The budget was in stately budget.
The budget
The
was in a
budget
state.
was
It was in a state of arrears.
Single room self-contained.
single room, self-contained, chamber and hall. I mean, the budget was there.
Okay.
But with projects like that, you have to just be like, okay, then we're going to have to do a lot of upcycling of things. We're going to have to do a lot of changing the fabric of things
Right.
and looking at making it what it is using what you have. But in this particular instance, I had to actually say, I would love to help you, but at the same time, I also have
Reputation
brand.
to keep, yeah.
Absolutely.
and I don't want to put my hand to something that I'm not going to be able to successfully execute,
Right.
because
And I
my
think
work
that's
helps me get new
important.
work.
Really.
That's important,
So,
right? Because I'm sure there's some people
you know,
But
I
you know-
can't.
you know-
try and make it work.
You know what's interesting? I find that, okay, personally, on a
Yeah.
personal level, I like my home to be a specific way.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it can't be easy dealing with people when you're doing their homes or their offices or whatever. How challenging is it designing or putting somebody's space together to reflect
Them.
You know,
It can't be
something?
easy.
Do you know something? It's not that it's hard, but especially when you don't know the person.
Okay.
Actually, when you know the person, sometimes it can be hard too. It's the person being able to bring out what it is they want to express.
Being able to communicate.
Right.
What they want.
Right.
So sometimes there's a lot of, is it like this? Is it like this? What do you think about this? And then in the beginning, there's loads of pleasantries. That's lovely, that's lovely, that's lovely. Have some time to think about it. Is it really lovely? Then you come back and be like, I don't like it. Or I like it, but it's not me. So, okay, let us get to you. What does it look like? So let's try and bring pieces of things they like to try and now go and accomplish the task. And then there are some clients that they just say, can you just do it for me and
Just
make it nice?
do what you want.
How do you
So
separate?
it's
How do you separate like your personal style with the style
Yeah.
and desires of the
and I
client?
think this is a bit of a problem that we have in our industry today in Ghana, because you have to do what the client's brief expects of you. Yeah.
What is the brief? Go into
The
that.
objective.
Okay.
So if the brief is, I want my bedroom to look like Alice in Wonderland, I can't just go and find things that I've personally fallen in love with and go and
them
put
in
it
there.
in there. And
Okay.
this is where I'm saying that there's a very grey line, an area in the industry today, because when you study interior design and understand interior design, there are different themes, and not everybody might know where their theme falls when they want you as an interior designer, but it's for you to try and understand at least close to what the person wants. And then in the process say, okay, you're quite a minimal person, but you're going to have some touches of classic,
Right.
and then maybe you're going to have some like artistic pieces because you like art.
But with that being said, you as the interior designer
Yeah.
or interior decorator, you have to put your stamp on it, because if somebody's wearing Christy Brown, you can tell, okay, this is Christy Brown.
Absolutely, don't mistake me. I'm not saying I won't give my interpretation, I will, but you have to ultimately deliver what looks like the theme. And why I was saying it's a grey area in the industry at the moment is that if you know what you love and you're getting business because it's because of what you love,
Right.
and people are more open to your own interpretation of style, then that's fine. But when you have a client that doesn't necessarily fit into what you're used to, that is where there's an education around understanding different concepts and themes, so that you can deliver it and then put your little stamp on it.
I also feel like employed an interior design, I guess there's levels to the interior design industry as well, but I'm expecting that person to have that education.
Absolutely.
You know,
Say that again. When?
So like if I employ an interior designer,
Yes.
I'm expecting them to have that education. So they are taught. So
Yeah.
those that have actually, you know, been to the schools, done the courses, they are taught what goes together, what
Right.
doesn't. So I'm also more of the kind of client, I want you to advise me.
Absolutely.
This is what I think goes. But then on the interior designer saying, well, you know, this plant placing is better north facing.
Absolutely.
I would go with your recommendation.
Absolutely.
Let's just say I said I wanted pink, light blue and red theme.
Yeah.
Would you just tell me no, or would you try to make it work?
I will advise you that the colours that you're choosing don't blend well, and then I suggest some colour palettes and accessory options that kind of draw in the influences of the colours that you like.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
You know, no, that's what
You're
I would,
really
No,
good.
that's what I would do, because some people, there's, like I said, there's different themes. You can
Right.
be someone that's very minimalistic. I had a client that he just doesn't want to see things. So the dining table is.
What do you mean?
He doesn't
Like,
want to see things.
He doesn't want to see things.
In Ghana here?
Yeah.
Hey!
So the room is very beautiful, but someone else will say it's very sterile because it doesn't have anything on the table, but that's what he loves. And if you say to him, "Oh, should we try some cushions?" I say, "No, he doesn't want cushions," because that's what he likes. And then there's another client that's like,
more is more.
wants everything all in the room, and I'm like, okay, should we try and put some screens on to try and hide some
Separate
stuff?
it.
And they're like, I like to look at my things.
Wow.
And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
they paid
That's
for
me.
them.
That's me. Such a money, so I want to see it. Yeah.
So you know, so that's where you will now say, okay, this person is more maximalist, and this person is more minimalist.
Okay. Where does sustainability fall in place in Accra, designing for people in Ghana? Is it a trend? Should we?
Sustainability.
Yes.
I think sustainability is something that shouldn't be looked at as a trend, but I don't know how sustainable the interior design market is in Accra here. But I know that I myself, part of my stamp is I like to use a lot of, how can I say, natural materials.
Okay.
So, like for example, if I'm having a dining room done for a client, and they know they want a mixture of glass and wood, I would like to make the wood, get an artisan to do it, really like make the wood, so it's, and then I use marble. I create furniture pieces out of marble and stuff like that. So that's sustainability somehow. And then obviously you want to make sure if you're using fabrics and stuff like that or other things that they're as, I guess, environmentally safe and as safe for the home as possible, because you are procuring that stuff.
You said you've been in Ghana since 2018.
Yeah.
And you were designing before you got here.
Yeah, so I started in the housing market or real estate market in 2004.
In the UK?
In the UK.
So what is the difference between having clients in the UK, designing for clients in the UK, and designing for Ghanaians?
Okay, there is a bit of a difference, and the houses are designed differently in the UK.
Okay.
And when I first entered the industry, I was working for New Homes.
Okay.
So it was housing projects like apartments, a lot like what we have here in Accra. And but the style was very simple, very Scandinavian, very minimalistic.
In the UK?
In the UK.
Yeah.
And then they draw a lot of influences from antiques sometimes. And then a lot of personal items that, I wouldn't say bric-a-brac, but English people like to go for their fairs and their markets and stuff like that. So you might be dressing a house and put a very Scandinavian type of sofa in, but then they've got like this statue that they bought at the fair. There, then you've got to try and bring it in with the rug that their grandma gave them.
Okay.
So
But how's designing for Ghana like?
Sorry?
Ghanaians in Ghana, designing for Ghanaians, how's it like?
I like it. It's fun, but you know, I don't necessarily feel like I'm designing for Ghanaians. I just see it as I'm designing for people. I see it as personalities more than people. But what I will say is that I can kind of now tell the kind of home that someone wants before I show them their style. By sometimes by how they're dressed.
Okay,
Oh,
so here's the
really?
thing. Wait. I'll try to. What kind of home do you think I would like?
Okay, it's good. It's good. I'm up for this. I think that you.
And I'll be honest, whether you get it or not.
Sure. I think that you seem to be very well cultured to me, and you seem like you like nice things.
Hey.
Your space is probably going to be very clean, and you'll see where everything is, but you have a mix of modern and some traditional elements.
Oh, she's good.
I think you like wood a lot and
She's
glass.
good.
Are you just saying that?
Seriously.
Yeah.
You got it. Seriously.
Yeah, and then maybe you like plants and stuff like that.
He's in shock. He's in
Yeah.
shock.
I'm shook, honestly. Wait, how expensive are you though? If I wanted to, no. I'm asking because a lot. The perception I have is that you have to have some money. You have to have expendable income to be able to go to somebody do my home for me.
Yeah.
So that's why I can an average person come to you and say that, you know what, I want my home done for me.
Yes.
And what is the process? Do we have to buy new things, or can you just redo the things I have?
Yes. At the moment, I'm looking at a kitchen and 2 bedrooms and a living room, and it already has things in there. And because of the budget, we're definitely taking off the kitchen doors, and we're definitely taking out the worktop because it needs to be replaced. But we're gonna do new doors, and we're gonna keep the original carcass because we've checked it out and it's good. So we'll replace the doors and we'll replace the worktop, and that automatically will give it a new lift. And then we'll just do little things.
But that's not expensive to do, replacing doors?
No, not really. It's just it's boards.
Right.
They're MDF boards or wood, depending on what you use. So if you just, you count in the number of doors, you're doing the calculations, and then you just, the team will just put the doors together. It's a lot cheaper than taking out the kitchen and doing making new of the kitchen and putting everything in new.
Right.
And then what you will do now is just look at the little touches, like the handles, maybe change some of the handles, maybe change the worktop from the colour it was before so the kitchen looks different.
Fresh look.
So give it a revamp.
A revamp, exactly.
How should homeowners approach budgeting for interior design?
I think that,
like, how does one come up? Obviously, you know how much you have to spend, but let's just say, I don't know how much this is going to cost. How should they approach the budgeting for it?
I think in the first instance, again, sorry I keep coming back to this word objective, but if you're taking an apartment for rent, some of that interior design cost is going to include furniture.
Right.
So that budget will be a lot different to someone saying, I just need the house like painted and bringing things together.
Right.
So ultimately, look at what you have intuitively as a person or as a couple, and then approach interior designers and find out what type of flexible ways you can work with them. Sometimes, and there has been times before, a lot recently, I didn't carry out the full interior design process, but I designed the whole mood board concepts.
Okay.
And then I suppose when the clients are ready, they'll go and buy the things and the colours that was shown to them in the mood board. And that's still the touch of an interior designer.
Okay.
And that can work out to be very much cheaper than having an interior designer
go
walk
do
you
the
through the whole
purchasing.
process.
Oh, okay.
Or you could say, actually, I've put aside 4,000 cedis, 5,000 cedis, and I really need to bring everything together. And with that in mind, because I know my team and I have a lot of relationships with different shops, I will know how to walk you through the journey, and I'll say, well, if you want this, you might need to put 2K on. And then we go through it like that. So I'm saying that everybody can explore interior design. It doesn't have to be for the very, very big projects or the very, very big fancy projects, because your home, ideally, I'm going to say this because I'm an interior designer, but it should be a reflection of you.
Right.
You know.
How different is it designing for residential as opposed to commercial?
I've done quite a few commercial. The difference is you have to try and incorporate the values and the different zones of work when it comes to some commercials. So I've done offices, and with that I had to consider breakout areas and areas that will inspire conversations. Areas that would be more of a quiet area, and if I'm looking at the outside area, making sure there's a table and some access to a plug, so I can envision people sitting there working. You have to consider stuff like the company's values, the ethos, and how that would look on the wall, and visually, that type of thing. So that's offices. Restaurants also, you know, restaurants sometimes have a theme, so you just have to do your best to walk through the theme and then work to the budget.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
In Accra, not adding spaces that you've done.
Yeah.
Where is your favorite space in Accra?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Today, what's your favorite space in Accra to walk into, design-wise?
Okay. Design-wise, do you know I like the mix?
Oh God.
I like it.
You hate it?
No, I'm envious of them.
Do you know why I like it?
Why do you like the mix? I like the mix, but I am envious.
Okay.
Because it's very much my aesthetic.
Personal style.
Right.
It really is my aesthetic, and you can find a bit of everything when you walk in there.
Yeah.
The restaurant, to be honest, is really well done. Not the inside, but the outside.
Okay.
Because they have shutter. It's really nice.
Yeah,
okay, I get it.
That's so I like the mix because I can see it's me. I can see myself in there. You know, I like a bit of boho. I like a bit of classic. I'm a bit of, you know, colours and reclaimed stuff, and it's got all that.
Yeah. That's okay. So because when you go outside, they have like the reclaimed shutters.
I've actually not been. I've not been.
Oh, it's
no.
nice.
I know.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I saw it online.
Okay.
And out of envy, I was like, I'm never going there. Until recently, a friend of mine insisted, and I went.
And you loved it.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was better than nice. I can tell.
You had a nice time.
I can tell. It was.
I'm not giving any shout outs to the mix, but okay. So, what other space do you like aside the mix?
I loved Kozo when it first came out.
Has it changed since it first
No,
came
it's
out?
the same now.
No, it's
but
a
I
bit.
mean, when it
You're used
when it
to
was
it.
fresh.
You're used to it now.
Yeah.
You're used to it now.
It was just like
It was a breath of fresh air.
Between Kozo and Santoku, which one was your favorite? The space.
this space. Okay.
Santoku, Kozo, which one do you prefer?
Interesting.
Personally speaking, Kozo.
Really?
But Santoku, what do
What
they
is
have
that?
there? The plain,
Over Santoku?
the plain brown tables
food
and
order,
chairs.
The food order space.
The space.
Oh no. Kozo.
You prefer Kozo?
No, but I'm trying to understand why that's hard for you.
I
What is in
personally-
Santoku?
Sorry, it's pretty dark in Santoku.
I mean, we love Santoku. We love the food.
I
we
love the food. I think if there was a bigger space, then it would give
more.
What's giving?
what they were trying to give.
Oof.
Okay. Okay.
Oof. What they were trying to give. So she's saying they're not giving it.
No, they're not.
They're not.
What is a space that?
My opinion.
What space do people like that you find
That
it's
you
enough
don't
for
understand.
that you think missed the mark?
That's a good question.
Oh wow, that's
I'm
very,
interested.
very, very good question. La Maison.
La Maison, the restaurant?
The one when they were in the airport.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
La Maison, the restaurant or the place
No,
they
the
sell
re-
the
the
stuff.
restaurant.
Not the house
The restaurant.
home, not the home decor shop.
Not that one.
The restaurant.
The restaurant. I never walked in there though.
Yeah, I did.
I like the golden tulip renovation.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Oh,
I like
yeah,
it's very
yeah,
fresh
it's
and
true.
light.
Yeah.
It is fresh.
Yeah.
And
The
you walk
lobby.
in and you're just like, wow.
It's nice and bright
It's
now.
Lancaster now.
It's
Yeah.
Lancaster now.
Yeah.
I like that.
But we all still call it golden tulip.
I know, right?
Everybody still calls it. I even forgot it was Lancaster. I was
Yeah.
going to say something else.
That
What are you gonna say?
I was going to say landmark. I don't know why that came to my head. But
oh, but
No, it's just
because Landmark is
next door. That's why.
Hi, Landmark. So
Anyway.
I think that's a good renovation,
yeah, I think so too.
I like the little touches of blue they gave. It was really nice.
and it's really bright.
yeah.
Do you think social media has distorted people's expectations of like interior design and home spaces?
Yes,
Okay. Tell us
How
why.
so?
because I feel like a big majority of people think that interior design is just buying a ticket and going to China,
Damn.
Turkey.
Ooh. Ooh.
Damn.
Oof.
Shots fired. Pew, 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 pew.
Sorry. Not sorry. There's furniture in Turkey.
Right.
We know that. But bring a bit more than that. You know, there's all kinds of beautiful furniture in China and Turkey. But don't bring the same stuff.
It's true, especially with the Turkish. When you walk into a place that has been decorated from Turkish furniture,
But
Do you
they
know
have
it's so
more, they
bad
have
that
more
now-
than what they're bringing.
Do you know it's so bad that when I walk into a space,
yeah,
I can tell stuff that's from Fosan
Mm.
and stuff that's from Turkey.
wow,
Stuff that's from Oka Decor.
yes,
Yes.
Stuff that's from Furniture City.
Yes.
Mm.
It's so bad.
I just think there's more there in China and Turkey,
Right.
and they're bringing the same thing. And I think
No, but
it's
I think
because
they
they think
bring-
people are buying it.
They think I think the thing is they think we like it, so they're giving us what we like.
Interesting.
I think that's what it is. Like because when I'm going to import, if I'm going to import, I'm looking at okay, what's going to sell,
Yeah,
right?
it's true.
What's going to
guess.
sell,
I guess
and
so.
and
But we also need more range. Like sometimes when I walk into
Give us
these,
a range.
I need more range than this.
It's fear. I'm not talking about the big suppliers because they are forced to crunch the numbers.
right.
Orca Deco may not want to take a risk because they
But to
know
be-
what sells.
To be fair, Oka Deco has a wide range of stuff.
They
Yes,
do.
and that's why I think
That's
and,
why
and
I
they,
actually
and they
like
do well,
them.
and they do well.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if we're talking about interior design and not just, I guess, furniture supply stores, you got to take the risk. If you believe that what you're delivering as an interior design, like I deliver more like natural pieces and stuff like that, and then if I went over there and go for what I would believe would be, forget about theme now, but what I would be bringing over, like a touch of my personality, it's a 50-50 chance that,
People are gonna-
those items will be sold.
Right.
But then again, that's my style. So you have to be bold.
Afriyie, on a side
Do you know
note,
what I mean?
Afriyie,
On a side
on a
note.
side note, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for somebody to make me really nice couches.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's your
We'll talk
plug.
on this side. I can't afford
Oh, she's your plug. Don't worry.
really,
I'll hook you
really lovely,
I'll hook
very,
you up.
yeah. What budget
your
are we
plug.
looking at?
Oh. We'll talk, but it's reasonable.
Reasonable? You see, your accent alone, reasonable is like constantly, you know, we are
No,
chop
Ghana
city.
cities.
Eh, your accent just switched.
Yeah.
Ghana, yeah, because you can't say Ghana City.
I'm like this.
Ghana cities.
Yeah, I ebb and flow.
I know. Right.
What red flags do some clients exhibit for you to know that this is going to be a problem? It's going to be difficult working with this person. What are some of the red flags?
Sometimes when it comes down to procurement and how they want to manage the procurement, especially when you're working on bigger projects and you're going with dates, and if you're working with bigger companies, they're going to go with schedules of when they want to release funds. It's normal. And maybe the person you're working with is very fluid, very okay, but the finance team are very the opposite.
Yeah.
And then you still have a deadline to meet.
Right.
So the first time around, you'll be like, hey, positive mental attitude, it happens. And then if it can get to the couple, so it's almost like I have been in situations like that before where, because I do things in phases, I'll just have to say I'll wrap up this phase
And we can't progress.
And
and
then-
we will not progress.
Oh.
Or you give me the money.
Speak to the accounts team.
You give me the money.
The money.
You can give me the
Money's
money.
tight. Money's tight.
It's money they are using
Money
to do their
is
work.
tight.
No, you can, because in some instances I do take the budget up front and I do bookkeeping, and
Oh.
and it's very much transparent. Everything is recorded.
Do you have situations where you've had to pre-finance the project? Is it a standard?
It has been asked, but I don't agree. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah,
go.
but why should it be their
Oh.
burden?
So
some people ask.
if Ministry of Agric comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm giving you a contract,"
Those people,
Yeah,
they don't
that's
pay on
different.
time.
oh, they'll pay.
But they pay, but it will not be.
Money that we pay.
Oh,
Times
so,
have changed.
so if it's a
Okay.
government contract, then
You
I
do
have to
it.
go and find one
But for
comfortable
an
benefactor.
individual, though,
that can help me to
but for an
pre-finance.
individual, I wouldn't take on the financial responsibility.
It's a big
of an
risk.
individual, especially if I don't know the person.
It's a
You
big
just come
risk.
as a
That's
client.
true.
And
That's true.
For you, George, of course, I
Hey!
don't. I know you, but
I like these.
you know,
it's a risk. It's to do with risk appetite and how much you feel you want the project.
Right.
Because I've been involved in some pretty big projects outside of Accra, like in Kumasi and stuff like that.
What do you mean outside of Accra? Kumasi is a big deal, you know. I'm from Kumasi.
I said
from
pretty big
Kumasi.
project
I've been involved
outside.
in big projects.
Okay. I was gonna
No,
say.
she said the project was
you were
big.
saying something like Kumasi, so.
Like,
No, no,
like
no.
I would know now. Because
If you say Takrade, yeah, maybe, but not.
before then I had to do NDA, so I couldn't talk about it. But I will talk about it because
you had to sign an NDA.
Yeah, it was a
In
project.
Kumasi?
It went on for 4 years or 5 years.
Hey,
I can guess.
then I was about to say I
and
can
I
guess
helped
too.
with.
I can guess.
I can guess
Go on,
too.
tell me.
You go first.
There you go first.
All right. The only
Does
project I
anybody
know in
It
Kumasi
must be a royal destin.
Yeah.
that was Menchia.
Yes.
I knew it.
Yes.
I didn't even think he would actually say.
It went for 4 years.
It ran on for a while.
Was it the hall?
Yes.
The new hall they did?
Yes, I was involved in the design process.
Oh, okay. I love that thing they did on the wall.
Yes.
That was really
That was
cool.
very, very lovely. That came in later. I was involved in the initial stages
Okay.
and the layout, how
Oh.
the kitchen should look, how the shape of the structure, the beginning, and then
But you know what? I must be honest. That was a smart build. Honestly, I think it's
the
needed.
contractor did well.
Yeah, I think it's needed, and they did.
The contractor did well, and expectations were met.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You know, a project in Kumasi that I think was very successful.
Which one?
Also, Golden Tulip, Lancaster, Kumasi.
Yeah.
I haven't been.
They've redone the.
Have they redone it? I
Oh,
haven't
yes.
been since it's been like.
And you know, this one is the Accra one is actually touches of blue. This one is touches of gold.
Ooh.
And it's really, really nice. Really, really
Nice. I've not
We-
been
we
there.
must go.
Yeah. And they've given you like a red carpet. It's really
Ooh.
gives you like
Regal.
yeah, very regal,
But
very.
you know something? I must say, and I'm an Ashanti myself, so I don't think I'm being awkward by saying this.
But we'll decide.
We need to, Ashantis, please. We need to
Tone it down.
widen our our ideas and palettes and
Right.
stuff, because we do like.
Gold.
Everybody likes to feel royal
Yes, we are.
because we are all royal,
Yeah.
right? But
And that's why
sometimes you
the
can
fancies
draw-
and the fancies
sometimes you can
and the Ga
bring
people they hate.
some other influences in. It's not always
First of all,
having
I'm half
to
Ga,
be.
half Ashanti, but okay.
It doesn't
Okay.
always have to be gold and red and
Yeah,
all that and
yeah,
brown.
yeah.
in the
Sometimes
house.
change it up a bit.
change it up a
Sometimes
bit.
change it up a little bit.
I feel you.
If somebody wants to reach out, how do they get in touch?
Yes, you can get in touch with me on Instagram, on TikTok, or of course.
Give us your handles.
Oh yes.
Do you know what I'm going to do for you though? I'm going to
Makes
put
sense,
you
wouldn't it?
on the Blavio site.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So they can reach you through the Blavio site
Oh,
as
that'd
well.
be awesome.
But you can give your handles and
Yes.
then we'll plug in Blavio after.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. You can reach me on Hoadi Design. So
Spell it?
that's Hoadi Design.
On all
Hoadi.
platforms. Yeah.
Hoadi.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. It was really good having you here today.
Thank you
having
for having
this
me.
conversation. I think you've given, as always, our listeners something to
I really
think
enjoyed
about.
this, by the way.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you did.
Really,
I can
really
tell
did.
he
Yeah?
he doesn't always enjoy, but today he
So
enjoyed.
let me tell you something.
Oh,
There
great.
was